The loudest sound in the world isn't a scream. It's the silence of a phone that used to buzz every hour. Right now, she's staring at that silence. She's checking her lock screen, waiting for a notification that usually arrives like clockwork. A text, a like, a check-in, a question, something, anything. But there is nothing, just a cold, black screen reflecting her own confusion. This is the moment the air changes. This is the moment she realizes the hunt is over, and the person she thought was a permanent fixture in her life has finally stepped out of the frame. For months, you were the background noise of her life. You were the safety net she didn't even know she was using. Every time she felt a little lonely, every time her ego needed a spark, she knew you were there. You were predictable. You were available. You were the man who would always explain himself, always try one more time, and always offer his heart up for inspection. You thought you were showing strength by staying. You thought you were proving your love by pursuing her through the maze of her own indecision. But you weren't showing her your heart. You were showing her your price tag. And by chasing so hard, you told her that your presence was cheap. People don't value what they don't have to earn. It's a cold truth of human psychology. When you provide constant, unearned validation, it becomes like oxygen. It's necessary, but nobody notices it until it's gone. You were her oxygen. You regulated her tension. You made it so she never had to face the consequence of her own distance because you were always there to bridge the gap. But now, you've stopped walking. You've turned around. And for the first time, she is standing in the middle of that gap, alone. She'll start to wonder. At first, it's just a flickering thought. Maybe he's busy. Maybe he's sleeping. But as the hours turn into days, that curiosity turns into a dull ache. The emotional safety net has vanished. She realized she can no longer assume you're sitting by the door like a loyal dog waiting for a scrap of attention. Your energy, your validation, and your warmth have been withdrawn from the market, and suddenly the demand for you begins to rise because the supply has hit zero. But this isn't about a game. This isn't about a tactic to make her come crawling back. If you treat this like a strategy, you've already lost. If you're sitting there counting the minutes until she notices, you're still chasing her in your mind. No, the real shift happens when you stop arguing with reality. You finally looked at the situation and realized that if you have to convince someone to see you, they aren't looking. You realize that your self-respect is not a negotiable currency. Think about the man you were when you were chasing. You were reactive. Your mood was a kite tied to her string. If she replied, you soared. If she was cold, you crashed. You were living in a state of emotional outsourcing, handing her the keys to your internal peace and wondering why you felt so locked out of your own life. That version of you is dying now, and he needs to die. When she notices you're gone, she isn't just noticing the lack of texts, she's noticing the return of your mystery. She's noticing that you have reclaimed your center. Before, she had your focus without having to earn it. Now, she has to face the possibility that she lost something valuable because she was too careless to hold it. Your absence creates a contrast. It highlights everything your presence used to provide. The consistency she took for granted, it's gone. The emotional labor you did to keep the spark alive, it's stopped. The feeling of being chosen every single day, that's vanished too. This is where the internal depth matters. You aren't just being quiet, you are being substantial. You are back in the gym. You are back at your desk. You are back in your own skin. You've stopped using your phone as a window into her world and started using your life as a foundation for your own. Every time you feel that itch to reach out, that desperate urge to check her social media or send a "hope you're well" text, you have to realize what that urge really is. It's a withdrawal symptom. It's an addiction to uncertainty. You weren't in love with the connection. You were addicted to the hope of the connection. Break the loop. Every time you refuse to chase, you are performing a small act of self-rescue. You are telling your soul that you are enough, even if she never realizes it. You are teaching yourself that you don't need a witness to be worthy. There is a specific kind of man that women never truly forget. He isn't the loudest. He isn't the one who gave the most grand speeches or sent the longest paragraphs. He is the man who knew when to walk away. He is the man who loved deeply but respected himself more. He is the man who was fully capable of connection but never available for exploitation. When you become that man, you become a gravitational force. She might reach out, she might send a breadcrumb, a hey at 11 p.m., a random question about something you mentioned months ago, a like on an old photo. These are tests. They aren't always signs of love. Sometimes they are just ego checks. She wants to see if the safety net is still there. She wants to see if she can still summon your energy with a single click. If you jump, you prove that nothing has changed. You prove that you were just playing a game. But if you remain still, something profound happens. You become the one who is leading the narrative. You aren't being mean. You aren't being bitter. You are just being unavailable for anything that isn't clear, respectful, and mutual. You've stopped accepting crumbs and started demanding a seat at the table. And if she can't provide that, you are perfectly content eating alone. The real victory isn't when she realizes what she lost. The real victory is when you realize what you found. You found your time. You found your focus. You found your sleep. You've stopped orbiting a person who was only ever a guest in your life and started honoring the person who has to live in your skin forever. Your silence is not a weapon. It is a boundary. It tells the world that your attention is a high-value asset that must be protected. It tells her that the version of you who was willing to beg for a scrap of her time has left the building. He's been replaced by a man who is moving toward his own mission, his own purpose, and his own peace. If she comes back, she has to meet a different man. A man with standards. A man who sees mixed signals as a no. A man who doesn't decode inconsistency as complexity. But if she never comes back, that's fine too, because you've already won. You've stopped the leak. You've plugged the hole in your soul that you were trying to fill with her approval. Stop chasing the ghost of a connection that only lived in your effort. Stop auditioning for a role in a play she isn't even writing. Stand up, straighten your back, put the phone down. There is work to be done. There is a body to build, a mind to sharpen, and a life to live. The chase is over, not because you lost, but because you finally realized that the only person worth pursuing was the man you abandoned while you were busy looking for her. That man is waiting for you to come home. Go find him.